I mean, let's face it, Jonny. If you're a 65-year-old man, you weigh 140 kilos, you're packing a Chang singlet,
Yep.
white socks, and a pair of sandals, and you're walking hand in hand, thinking you're in love with a 22-year-old girl with bolt-ons, braces, a mini skirt, and 6-inch high heels, and you think that's a real.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about why Western men date Asian women. Why is it when Western men date Asian women, people assume the worst? You've heard it before. She's after his money. He can't get a woman back home. There's a power imbalance. Is that actually true? Okay, so when a Western woman dates outside her culture, it's exciting. But when a guy comes to Thailand and he meets a nice Thai girl, it's frowned upon. Let's say she meets a big, rich Japanese guy. It's really exciting. But when a guy comes to Thailand and he meets a nice girl, it's frowned upon. Like, come on. So today I want to break down the stereotypes and talk about the reality of dating in Asia and ask the question, why does the Western world have such a big problem with it? So I don't want you to just take my word for it. I thought we'd go and see one of my best mates, Darren, or I call him Dazza. He's from Australia. He is the most perfect person to speak to about this. Darren's one of these guys who's just successful in life. He's successful in business. He's raised beautiful kids back in Australia. I'm not going to tell you too much, I'll let him do that. They've got a holiday home here, like a beautiful pool villa. Recently he got married to his lovely wife Angie, who they've been together about 4 or 5 years. She's actually from Thailand. So he's the perfect person to speak to about why Western men date Asian women. All right, we're coming up to Daz's house. Darren, Dazza.
Jonny, good to see you again. You're looking younger. Every time I see you, it must be having this young Thai wife that gives you a face massage every day. You know how it is.
I wish.
Yeah,
I wish.
I do too. But that's how many Western women think, huh?
Well,
So,
yeah.
before we get into your questions and answers, I guess, let's maybe just talk about a few things first. And, I guess in the world today, we've got more and more Western men coming to live in Asia. Cost of living in Western world is getting higher and higher, and so there is going to be more Western men having relationships with Southeast Asian women, let's say. So I think that's natural. And another point is, if I look at my friendship group, I mean, friends of mine for 20, 30 years. I think I'd say probably 80% of them are now on their second relationship, and I'd say out of that 80%, I'd say 90% have Thai, Philippine, Vietnamese, Colombian partners second time around.
90%?
90%. So it's becoming more the norm. I guess we should call the elephant in the room out, and I guess where all the stigma comes from, where all the judgment comes from, and I guess particularly where we are here in Thailand is Thailand has a very large, let me say, adult entertainment industry, and a lot of the 2-week millionaires that come to Thailand, they go out in these areas like Patong, Phuket, Pattaya, Bangkok. They meet some lady there, they fall in love, but suddenly they become a sponsor. Generally, it's a mismatched relationship. Generally, it's a transactional relationship, and
It's a business agreement, really, isn't it?
yeah, and it gives a bad impression. I mean, let's face it, Jonny. If you're a 65-year-old man, you weigh 140 kilos, you're packing a Chang singlet,
Yep.
white socks, and a pair of sandals, and you're walking hand in hand, thinking you're in love with a 22-year-old girl with bolt-ons, braces, a mini skirt, and 6-inch high heels, and you think that's a real relationship, and that's where
It's a holiday girlfriend, really.
but that's where a lot of the stigma and the judgment comes from in the Western world. And unfortunately for us men that have genuine relationships, we end up being put in the same bucket, unfortunately. And there is a large entertainment industry here, but it represents a very small percentage of the female population and in general. And so, it's very wrong. I mean, the moral of the story for sure is don't get mixed up with a girl in the entertainment industry. I mean, the chances of success are as rare as rocking horse shit. I mean, as you know, there are YouTubers out there that they're making a fortune just telling stories every day of the week about train wrecks of relationships here in Southeast Asia from men who come here. They get mixed up with girls from the entertainment industry, and it's not the right approach. And the other problem is that they had tried to have these long distance relationships, and that doesn't work. I mean,
where they're sending the money every month.
Yeah,
then.
It doesn't work long distance. If you're serious about having a relationship with a lady from, let's say, Southeast Asia, you've either find someone in your own home country, come and live in the country, or if you do find someone that's not living in your own home country, you have to immediately do what it takes to get them, make an agreement whether you're going to live with her in her country or they come to live with you, which is what in my circumstances when I met my wife. We met 6.5 years ago, and yeah, we've been together ever since, and we made that decision very early on. She put her business on hold in Bangkok. She came to live with me in Australia, initially on tourist visas. We decided we want to make a go of it. So we then started the process of, the partner visa scenario in Australia, which is a nightmare, and it's not easy, and it is very expensive to do. And it took a lot of hard work to get that through. So you've got to be committed if you really want to go down that track. But for sure, there are benefits in that sort of relationship.
So going back before what you were saying about the 2-week millionaires, but honestly, you can't blame these guys. It's
for sure, but unfortunately, the Western society and
sees that behaviour, and
they come here on holiday. Yeah. They see these. Unfortunately, that's not the reality.
But whose fault do you think that is? Do you think that's Thailand's fault, or do you think Thailand instigates this kind of behaviour?
More so in the past, but I think it's becoming more the norm to have a mixed racial relationship, and so I think it's becoming more accepted. Yeah. But you've got to put aside the entertainment industry. That's not the real world, and the guys that come here thinking that's a relationship, they're living in fantasy land, and when they get on that elevator at Swampy to go through passport control, they should wipe that memory and forget about it, because it's not real world. There are many lovely Asian women out there that don't call for judgment, but unfortunately that small percentage is giving a bad name to the overall. And it's human nature. People always like controversy. People always like to talk about bad stuff and judge people. People never talk positively. No, absolutely. And that's just human nature.
You only hear the bad stories.
You're only going to hear the bad side of things. So When we started our relationship, I certainly had a lot of history in Thailand. I'd been travelling here for more than 25 years. My father's retired in Phuket just before the tsunami. I've always travelled here. I've always done business in Thailand as well through my company. I've always had an affinity with the people, the culture, the lifestyle, the weather. I love the place. And when it came to, I guess, the point in my life where I was looking for another partner, it was a natural progression, I guess, for me to.
Well, you've been coming here for so many years.
Yeah. So, and I had friends that had gone down that path as well. So it
just worked.
It just worked.
So going back to your father, is that the relationship with you and Thailand? Is actually that's where it started?
Yeah, I guess so, because he moved here when he retired, and I guess.
So if it wasn't for him, do you think you would have come to Thailand?
I probably would have, because in the end later on, I did business with clients, Australian clients here in Thailand. Right. So I probably would have ended up here a lot later. But yeah, as it turned out, I came here with my family and my young kids when coming to visit their grandfather and in Phuket, and it is what's not to like about this place. So it's very different to living in Melbourne.
You've been with Angie now for 6.5 years.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet in the first place?
So it was just a coincidence. I went out to dinner with some friends, and she was invited along. One of the friends was actually her cousin. Cousin invited her to come along. We met, we got talking, and I guess the rest was history. We hit it off, and we started talking, and then I came back to visit her not long after, and then we decided come to Australia. We managed to get her a tourist visa very quickly. She came and spent a few months in Australia, and the relationship, I guess,
that was during
progressed.
COVID, wasn't it?
That was just before COVID. We were very fortunate that the timing of when our relationship started, we got her the first part of her permanent residency, I think 2 months before COVID started, and we were actually booked to come back in the March of 2020 or whatever it was to have a holiday with her daughter, and of course COVID hit. We intended at that time to start the process of also getting her a visa, but that was put on hold. Unfortunately, she got stuck in Thailand during COVID. We got stuck in Australia, and that was it was a testing time, because suddenly we were forced into a relationship.
Living in the same house.
And then,
together.
of course, in Melbourne, lockdown city in the world, thanks to Chairman Dan. So, look, I guess it threw us in the deep end, and look, in the end, I guess we proved that the relationship worked.
And it's working. Well, you actually got married last year?
Yes, we got married in Australia November last year. Again, we waited till.
And you'll be having a wedding here soon?
We are having, as you know, our wedding in July at the Sheraton here with a lot of family and friends from Australia and from.
So you're doing
Thailand
that wedding for her family and your friends here, or is it just?
Yeah, I guess so, to a certain extent, and also we just want to have a party with her, and a lot of my kids and their partners come every year and stay with us. A lot of friends haven't yet come, so it'd be nice to get them.
Yeah.
And look, my friends in Australia all know Angie well. We regularly go out with our friends and travel with them. So this is just us showing our new life and where I intend to spend my retirement years. And
yeah, well, let's get on to that subject.
Yeah.
So you're based in Melbourne.
Yeah,
you've
we're
got
based
a lovely
in,
house there on the water. And
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Melbourne are you?
South of the city. We live, I guess, on a marina complex area, because I love fishing and boating, which my wife doesn't like.
Yeah, well, that's perfect.
Which is a good thing.
You can get away by yourself.
We live on the water there, and I run an engineering company.
So what do you think is different about relationships here?
Look, I mean, obviously, let's put aside the physical attraction. Southeast Asian women are rather attractive as a whole, as a race. Putting that aside, they just have a different DNA, Jonny. I think, to me, that hard to explain. I think I'll talk about Thai women, let's say, in my instance. I feel that they're the DNA of a Western woman 30 years ago, probably my mum's generation. They're very content in having a good family life, very nurturing, very
family
caring,
bond,
family orientated, partner orientated, and you have a good Thai partner, wife. You do, because they're just the most gentle, caring people that race that you'd ever meet. It is hard to explain, but there's definitely something about them, and that's what endears so many Western men to
come here.
To Southeast Asian women, I guess. We're not trashing Western women at all. They're just different, and it's appealing to some men.
What is that? And this isn't disrespectful to Western women at all, but do you think they've lost touch of reality, or Like, are they expecting a lot more? What do you?
I think expectations are a lot higher in the Western society now, and
Especially in Australia, do you see that?
I do see that. But I have friends in Europe and other America.
So it's not just Australia; it's America.
It is a
worldwide epidemic.
Worldwide thing, and I think probably social media has played a role in changing Western expectations, Western society.
Where do you think they've kind of lost touch of reality? Do you think they're more needy? Do you think they're not as appreciative, or?
You're going to get me in trouble.
I'm gonna try. But without, and like this isn't
I think,
directed at every single Western.
No, not at all.
General?
I think we're generalising for sure.
Yeah.
I think yeah, their expectations are much higher of their relationships and their partners. I think they are more needy, I would say, as a whole.
Yeah. I think they're a lot more independent though,
and also that as well.
And
that's that as well.
Like you see women now, like Western women now, that are CEOs of big companies.
Correct.
Like 30 years ago, that wouldn't have happened.
No, correct. And that's just the function of society today. And for a lot of men, they're happy with that. And you know,
whatever floats your boat. At the end of the day,
absolutely. But for some men,
it's just not what they're after.
Correct. And yeah,
okay. Let's move on.
I don't think that's the.
Go on before
in
you
the end, I don't think that's the reason I ended up with the type hunter. I think it's more just that I like the life here and
it just makes for your lifestyle.
Correct.
So, have you faced any criticism from friends and family back in Australia?
Look, fortunately for me, as I said earlier, many of my friends have been down this same journey, and I think that makes it a lot easier because I've got a supportive network that I can talk to, and it's not easy, and it's someone you can talk to about the idiosyncrasies of a relationship with an Asian.
Yeah, you've got something in common.
Yeah, you've got something in common, and that helps a lot. So I guess my kids are, they have a very strong friendship with my wife now, built up over time. It's not a 5-minute thing, and I guess, look, naturally at the beginning they had reservations, and that's understandable, and over time the bond's growing, and I think they have a very good relationship now, independent of me. Angie has a good relationship with the kids.
That's good.
And that's great. A great relationship with Kay, my stepdaughter, and that's all you really
want. That's all you can ask for, really.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Because it doesn't always go that way.
It doesn't, and that's an important part of the success of a relationship, because if you have those, awkward things in your life, it does make stress, and it can put a strain on relationships, and a lot of them fail for that reason.
Yeah. Well, I have heard of a lot of situations like this where, and a lot of friends that I've met here that have retired to Thailand.
Yeah.
They've been involved with obviously Western women in a previous relationship, in a marriage, and they've had children. As soon as they've got divorced, he's obviously said, okay, I'm out of here. They've cut ties. She's obviously got 70% of his net worth. So he's pretty much, and he decides to move to Thailand. Yeah. And the ex-wife gets in the kid's ears and says, oh, your father's a mongrel, he's a monger, he's going over to Thailand, he's going to give all your inheritance to some Thai woman. And so she's pretty much brainwashing the kids.
We have friends in Australia,
that's happened
Thai
to?
Aussie couple that live in Australia.
Yeah.
And that's happened.
Yeah.
He had younger kids, 4 or 5 younger kids, and his wife, basically, they brainwashed the kids to totally dislike the partner.
If he hooked up with after their marriage, hooked up with an Australian woman, say, that it would still be that. But do you think it's just because?
No, I think there's
because she's Asian,
a certain stigma and a certain judgment, as we've discussed, unwarranted.
Yeah.
But
they just can't accept it. It's got that stigma.
Yeah, which is comes from the history of the past.
And how do you respond to negative assumptions?
Look, we don't get a lot, but for me, it's water off the duck's back. I mean, people don't know my relationship with my wife. They don't know our history. We haven't been together for 5 minutes. We've built a relationship over quite a number of years. We've built a good. I call it our own business unit, so to speak. We're our own core entity, and we work well as a team. I ignore the negativity. To be honest, the only negativity, we don't see it when we're here in Thailand. We really don't, because it's pretty much the norm. We would see it maybe sometimes we go out in Australia to a nice restaurant or something, and you can see the knives
coming out your back.
To be honest, they're mainly directed at
Angie
more than me. Probably jealousy and judgmental, and they don't know the facts of the relationship. They just think,
But is it as bad as like you're walking through a shopping centre and you get kind of funny looks, or is it that bad, or is it just
occasionally?
And you're very lucky that you live in Melbourne. That's one of the most multicultural countries in the world.
Correct. I mean,
if you were living on the Gold Coast, say,
you'd be in trouble.
Yeah,
because there's not so much.
It's a different breed on the Gold Coast, isn't it? Yeah, the Gold Coast women are just a different breed. I said, that's where gold digging was invented.
Yeah, correct. So they shouldn't be judgmental.
No, well, that's right.
But it's equally, a very small percentage of the women are out there looking to gold dig. I mean, it's just a no-no, and it comes from, yes, the entertainment industry, but very, very, very few of those relationships go beyond first base because of.
But tell me one woman in the world, whether they're Asian or they're Western, or they want financial security.
Absolutely.
And you don't really blame them either.
Yeah, correct. I mean, to be honest, I'm very lucky. My partner's always, don't spend money on this, don't
Oh, you're lucky.
I'm quite
that's why I think she's very good for some.
a very lavish lifestyle, and Angie's always pulling me back. She's actually
normally it's the other way around.
Yeah, you would think, I'd just spend money left, right, and centre, but she's happy to turn right on the plane even though I want to turn left. It's a complete misjudgment of and again put into the same bucket, but you can't put everyone in the same bucket. There's a flip side to this, and people judging the men, there's the other side to it, and that's the let's say that yes, there are many Western men who are looking to have an Asian partner, but there equally are a lot of Asian women who are genuinely looking to have a relationship with a Western man, and it's got nothing to do with gold digging. And this is where people judge these women wrongly. I mean, let's talk about Thailand in this case. And the fact is that many of these women, their partner leaves them as soon as they have a partner. Many of them that do have partners here, the husband has
the Thai partner.
Yeah, has a second wife. All the Thai women today have access to worldwide social media, and they see the Western way of a relationship. They say, you know what, I wouldn't mind having a relationship like that. They're looking to have a relationship where they have a supportive partner, a hard-working partner, and one that treats them as an equal, and they don't often see that in Thai society. So,
well, it would be a hard situation to have kids to a Thai husband, and this happens. It's very common here, and sometimes he's got 3 or 4, and normally it happens after the woman's had a kid, they've got married. So she feels pretty much trapped there.
Correct.
So she can't really move on because he's obviously the breadwinner. For her to move on, there's no other choice but to go for a foreigner.
They have no other choice.
And like you said, social media has pretty much played a big part in that.
Yeah, correct.
20 or 30 years ago, they probably didn't even know how.
No, but now they know Western culture, and they see that the husband-wife relationship in a Western culture is a more equal standing. A lot of Asian women now say, well, I wouldn't mind having that sort of thing.
And why wouldn't they?
I understand. So look, I guess, Jonny, in conclusion, I probably would like to add that many Western people, they think Asian women are easy. You know, they obviously never had a relationship with an Asian woman because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's
very hard.
You've got
language barriers.
You've got language barriers. You've got cultural differences, and particularly in the first few years, that's a challenge.
Yeah,
it's not an easy thing to have a relationship with an Asian woman. It's not, and particularly if you want to have a successful one, it takes commitment both sides to get through those difficulties, and it takes a lot of time. And I think if you get through those first years, you end up with a successful relationship, but you've got to get through the real test of the first few years, and so it's not easy.
No.
But like the stigma would say.
We're not saying that every single Thai woman out there is an angel.
No, absolutely not.
There's some as mad as a box of frogs.
Correct, and we're not just talking about women in the entertainment industry.
And we're just not talking about Thailand. I'm sure this is like
Southeast Asia. I'm sure it happens everywhere. I mean, worldwide. I guess we're just focusing on our own experiences and also what I've observed with my friends. You know, most of my friends are business people, all got successful relationships. For sure, it's not for everybody. For some men, you know what, stick to being a 2-week millionaire. Probably the best idea because you've got to put in the hard yards.
For the people watching now that are looking at moving to Thailand long term, pretty much retiring here, or if not, you know, they might be younger, they might be retiring, might be looking at moving here to work or whatever, what advice would you give them?
I think get here, have your blowout.
Get off your chest.
Get it off your chest. Have a reason to stay here. Have a hobby. Have some interests. You've got to have something to do. Otherwise,
even if you're retired,
you cannot spend every day
going
drinking in a bar. You go crazy. It's self-destruction.
Keep away from bar girls and as a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, pick hobbies because generally you'll find someone who has similar hobbies to you, and don't be in a rush.
It's good to have a relationship with a Thai girl, but getting rid of them sometimes is pretty bloody hard.
So I believe.
You answered that one well. I'm trying to...
Very politically correct. I should be a politician.
You should
I'm
be.
not putting myself up for election.
All right. Well, that's well. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. I'm happy to give my insights.
I hope my viewers have taken on some of your advice.
No problem.
Like I said, if you guys can relate to Darren, please drop a comment in the and if you see him around Hua-Hin or something, buy him a beer.
Normally I'll be hidden behind a mask on Halloween.
We might have a beer now.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
good.
Thank you, mate. We'll speak to you soon. Huh?
We'll see you.
We'll see you on the.
At the next wedding.
No, we're in Bangkok next week. Aren't we?
We are.
Nana Plaza. You might see us there, boys.
Yes.
Okay, so we've just left Darren's house. He's a really lovely guy, isn't he? He knows his stuff, so. So I highly recommend what he said to maybe take on board if you're not sure about dating Asian women. We've just called into Gary's. Gary's on High Spy. It's bloody hot. All right, Gary, thank you for lunch. How's business been?
Yeah, not too bad. It's definitely dropped off, but it's still good.
So I'm doing a video I'm posting tonight.
Right.
You know what it's about?
What?
Why Western men date Asian women.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, I can't say anything. I've got one with 2 kids, so...
You've got a Thai wife?
Yep.
But it's going to open a can of worms though, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to have all the, what do they call that, women's group?
Yeah.
All the feminists coming after me.
Yeah.
With the daggers.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Gary, come and see Gary. Soy 102 will have the Google map link in the description.
Cool, thank you very much.
All right, mate, take it easy.
Mate. See you later.
Okay, so lunch was good. Lunch is always good. I'll have Gary's Google map link in the description if you want good Western food and an excellent Sunday roast. It's so we're going to go home now. I'm going to settle in. I'm going to cool off. It's bloody hot. I've got the Escort out today for the aircon. So hot. It's much hotter than last year. Okay, so yesterday I asked a question, why do Western men prefer Asian girls? I gave like 4 answers that people could choose from. Unfortunately, YouTube only gives you allocated a full 4 answers, so I couldn't put any more in. I could have put 50 in, don't worry, trust me. So I said, if it's not there, put it in the comments and I'm going to read a few out and see what you guys have to say about this. So let's jump into it and see what you subscribers have to say on why men prefer dating Asian girls. Let's get into it. Okay, Randy Irvine. If you don't like most Asian women, you need to go Specsavers. Brian Dempsey. Hey, Jonny, Brian from Alice. They enjoy being feminine and like being treated like a woman and simply loads of fun and very street smart. Stephen Irwin, I've got a mate here in Australia, and when I'm talking about Asian girls and how much I love them, he always says, I don't think they're any good. I just look at him and over to his partner, Aussie chick, and say, yeah, okay, mate. Rowan Brady, I'm old school. Western women come with too much baggage, expect to be pampered and not get much in return. Asian women take care of kids, your house, and less aggro, and happy to be the household mum. Choose wisely, folks, and the rewards are great. Asian women all the way, no contest. Lewis B. The Western culture has destroyed women's ability to be a good partner. They all believe they are the prize and that men are there to serve them in the relationship. Mr. Venom, as it said in the Red Pill community, Western women demanding 10 times more men than their grandmothers did, but 1 to 10 of the women their grandmothers were. Hoe inflation has run amok. I stopped dating in 2016 and won't start again until I leave this place. Snickers. G'day, Jonny. I tapped all the above, but I have just to note that one thing is missing from the options, and my personal experience, respect is a key factor why we choose Asian women. Western women have lost the ability to respect their partner. I don't care how much hate I get from my comment, but you can't deny the truth. Roman Rob, because they're usually 30 years younger than us. Rob, that was most liked comment, I think. NAGA. The secret is choosing the right Asian lady for a relationship. Preferably stay away from dating apps, bars, and nightclubs. Very good, solid advice, that. Mr. Aussie Brad. As an Australian, I just like Asian women, but don't get me wrong. Some are still crazy. Ain't that the truth? Some are as crazy as a box of frogs. Got the single life. It is because of second options, and they are also looking for a good man. Not just the sixers with the feminist mindset dealing with all the bullshit dramas, which is why so many men go to Thailand, Philippines, and other places. Brett Michael. They know what it means to be feminine, and they know their role in a relationship. Western women in the past knew their role too. It's only the modern Western women that have it blurred. Corvette Rudy. Hello, Jonny. Absolutely 100%. Thai and Asian women have always been my favourite. Rise Shine. I think in Australia, just isn't worth the hassle. Okay, so this is a very controversial topic. What do you feel about the stigma? Have you felt it? Have you been in a situation from your family and friends back home in the Western world because you actually do prefer dating Asian women? I'd love to hear in the comments, please. In the comments, let us know. We'll all stick together like brotherhood. I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and we'll speak to you soon.